Hello, 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 and welcome to our Beacon webinar. This is the first session this year, and I'm really glad that we are continuing this initiative. Let's first, before I introduce our speaker and tell you what a great topic we have today, check if our chat is working. Why don't you put in the chat something like, where are you joining us from, for example, and maybe what do you see in front of you? Is there anything interesting? For example, I'm joining from Dnipro, Ukraine, and I see a mess on my table, which is maybe not the best thing to see, but it is what it is. So where are you joining from? Let me see if our chat is working. Okay, we have another hi from Dnipro. All right, great. USA and rain. Okay, rain may be nice. We have someone joining from Lviv. Cool, that's great. Let me see more. Oh, okay, see more. So again, Lviv, Canada. Someone is joining from Poltava on the way home. Okay, have a safe trip there. Okay, mother sees her kids drawing in Krakow. That's fine. Lviv, spring. Wow. Okay, that's good. I envy you a little bit. We have someone joining from Utah. Beautiful mountains outside. Yeah, that's definitely true. We're very aware of those mountains. Ivano-Frankivsk. Great. All right, we have a great audience. People joining all over the globe. People from US, from Poland, from Ukraine, from Canada. Great. All right, let us start a little bit slow, and I will just warm you up a little bit and give some other people chance to join us and don't miss all the interesting stuff that Elena gonna talk about today. So just a few words about a company called SoftServe, which supports us with this initiative. If you don't know, the SoftServe is one of the biggest Ukrainian technology companies specializing in consultancy services and software development. We're doing a wide range of projects, services, including expertise in big data, Internet of Things, cloud computing, DevOps, and many more. Of course, artificial intelligence and other cool technologies and domains. We have quite a large, I would say, business analysis office with great expertise. The office was established back in 2012. Oh my God, that's so long ago. And right now we have around 400 business analysts spread across 12 countries, again, all over the globe. If you want to learn more about us, you may join those QR codes. Yeah, use those QR codes and join our social networks on LinkedIn and Facebook. Before we get to our presenter and before I introduce her, I just want to talk a little bit about our educational projects. So we really love to do some sort of courses and education for business analysts inside the company and outside the company. And this time we're advertising for these two amazing courses. The first one is called Certification Bootcamp, and it is built around preparation for ECBA, CCBA, and CBAP certifications from IIBA. That's a fantastic course. All our trainers are certified professionals, and they are sharing their knowledge, and also they're sharing their experience of obtaining the certification. And we have a quite great passing rate as a result of this course. Many of students have passed certification after half a year of passing this course. So we are really proud of it, and we're really sure of the quality of the course. So the registration is open, and the course starts very soon in March 2025. So yeah, if you're interested in passing the certification this year, so this is your chance to get prepared. And the second course that we are also announcing today is the Mastering Product Ownership Analysis. This course is built around let's say, body of knowledge around product ownership analysis, also from IABA, and it will fit you if you are planning to advance more to a product owner role. So this course is built around actually practical workshops. Each workshop has like its own technique or set of techniques which you can practice and which you can already add to your arsenal, add to your skill set, and use on your projects, and to get more insights from your customers and other stakeholders on the project, and become more advanced in product ownership. And also it helps you to prepare for IABA CPOA exam, which you also can pass after graduating from the course. Of course, as you may guess, we are endorsed by IABA, we're accredited providers of IABA courses, and you will receive PDUs as a result of finishing this course. You may see the PDUs also there on the screen. Right now, I will share just for a few seconds the QR code, which will guide you to the page from where you can check out those courses, see the curriculum, see the dates, the prices, and pick out what will be interesting for you. All right, so now let's proceed with our webinar, and let me introduce our speaker. We have very experienced and decorated professional today, Alena Shalutko, Enterprise Solution Principal. She has more than 14 years in business analysis, including enterprise and strategy analysis and healthcare solution advisory. She is certified business architect, certified business analysis professional, certified product ownership analyst, oh my God, and also has certifications in SAFe, SPO, practitioner, and agilist. Right now, Alena is specializing in leveraging digital transformation to drive business innovation and growth, and focusing on developing corporate offerings and accelerators, leading pre-sales, discovery, and enterprise transformation initiatives in the healthcare solution group. Wow. Just a few words from myself. Alena is really experienced and a great professional, and I'm sure today's session will be a great one. So, without further ado, let me pass the floor to Alena. So I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Kirilla. I'm blushing.
That was my intention. And by the way, before you share the screen, I just want to remind everyone that you may add your questions into Q&A section there if you see that, and we will probably answer the questions at the end of the session. So we will pick it out and have Alena answer all of that. All right.
Okay, so Kirilla gave me such a perfect, awesome introduction, so I don't know what to add else there. But maybe before I move forward, I'll share with you a little bit about my professional path, so how I ended up where I am and why I'm talking about this specific topic, which we're discussing a little bit today. So I started maybe like in 2011, I think, I don't even remember. And I found myself already in the middle of the different enterprise level projects. So there were government projects, Department of Defense, there was projects around let's say optimizing costs, optimizing back office operations, about transforming and adapting healthcare products from one market to another one, talking about a lot of different adjustments in regulations and compliance, about starting new business lines, about adjusting and transforming the existing products. So a lot of things which involve really extensive transformations, really extensive collaboration between business and IT. And I got a lot of experience and a lot of pain points around conversations between business and IT, and how that impacts really projects which you think they're perfect, but everything can just break up because of that misunderstanding between business and IT. So I found myself on the path to find how I can help with this miscommunication, with those issues between those two major departments, and the problem of their collaboration is as old as the world, and there is no silver bullet there, but we always try to find and to help and to navigate our customers through the journey. So this would be the topic and talk of my experience. I really want us to start from how I named this the 6 deadly sins of digital transformation. I'm sure if you will Google something like that, you will find a lot of different points of views, different lists, 10 problems in digital transformation, 5 top issues you need to address during digital transformation. But all of them, personally for me, they will end up with one particular root cause. I will guide you through what I think, and after I will finish with all those 6, I will ask you to answer me the question, what do you think is the core of all those 6? And let's see if we have the same thought. So first of all, what I'm seeing in projects like major digital transformations, why they're failing, that's the lack of clear strategy. Everest Group says that around 73 of companies, they really simply fail to capture any business value for digital transformation. So they have a miscommunication, they're not understanding where they're moving. Another one, which I named the shiny object syndrome, and I believe all of you know what does it mean, especially now in era of generative AI, agentic AI, a lot of different trends appearing. Every company says we need to go Gen AI, we need to go agentic AI right now. In a few years, it would be physical AI. But based on the research, which I read, I think, a week ago, only 1 in 6 US workers, they're using AI to perform their job task, and they're actually really happy with the results. So all the significant investments, all this bubbling market, it's all around the shiny object because we're talking we go there, but we are not ready to go there. Another issue I think you also might be noticing among your customers, I named this copycat approach. In simple words, customer says, I want something like this another customer have. I want something best on the market. Not often you need like something best in the market, something best in class, because it not always fit you. You don't need electronic like EV car if you don't have EV charger in your area. This just does not make sense for you. You don't need a really cool mixer in the kitchen because if you are like baking once per year. But still, top management says, I want best in class. I want what that company has. Do it for me, no matter if I'm ready or not. A lot of digital transformations, they are really reviving around technology really often, and they're underestimating the power and the need of the change management. Approximately 70% of those digital transformations efforts, they fail based on the feedback, primarily to this miscommunication and employee resistance. So people just do not want to change, and this is normal and natural to human nature. So change management is the tool which potentially needs to help with that. Underestimating that, that's the wrong way to go. That's a deadly sin. Overlooking the data management. You cannot transform, you cannot go digital without proper data structures, data management approach, and really good vision and understanding on how you will get insights from data. And last and not least, this is communication and collaboration. And this number was really surprise for me when I was preparing this webinar. The recent report says that around 84% of executives, they feel that major consulting companies, they fail because they do not take into account good enough what's required from people and processes. They are mostly concentrated on technology. That was like wow insight for me. But poor communication, collaboration, definitely one of the issues we're facing right now. What do you think? What is one item, one problem which really binds all 6 of those? What's the root cause here? I'm not sure I see the chat, but I will try to open it. I see strategy. Any other opinions? Underestimating value of digital assets, readiness. Don't be shy. Take clear goal. Maybe a few more. Give me a few more. Maybe 2. Okay, so I will share with you my personal opinion here. All of this All of this is partially true for me personally, but under each of this issue, I see a lack of conversation and shared vision between all the participants. I really like analogy of Tower of Babel. There's some kind of Tower of Babel effect. So I think all those points, they somehow resonate with you. So company, they set ambitious goals, like we'll become digital first organization like in 2 years. This is our strategy. Different teams, they interpret this differently. Someone says it's about AI. Another one goes, we need to go cloud. Third one thinks, no, we need to do automation. They don't speak the same language. So tech teams, they're talking about AI, APIs, microservices, while business representatives, they talk about customer journeys, products, ROI, so on and so forth. With this misalignment, with competing priorities, lack of shared vision, the transformation really fails. They do not talk, they talk different languages, and they do not share their understanding with each other. And the cherry on the top, because of that, each team who is participating in this digital transformation, they run their separate projects instead of working together, sometimes stepping on each other's toes or working somehow completely isolated when they need to be combined and working together and communicating. And at the end of the day, something they were working just do not bind together because they were missing this communication collaboration thing. I like really simple analogies, and I really ask you to think about the house. So that's why Tower of Babel. When you're building some kind of new building, you do not start randomly from pouring concrete or installing windows before the foundation, right? You need the blueprint. You need the clear structure. You need a plan that aligns with everyone, with architects, engineers, builders, city planners, whoever. Without that, will get a lot of confusions. Or when you are renovating 100 years old building, which is some kind of sacred and important for your like town history, you have a really old legacy infrastructure. You have outdated wiring, you have fragile walls, you have plumbing that barely works, a lot of issues there. You do not blindly start adding smart home without addressing the cracks in the foundation, because the whole construction, whole thing will just collapse. And the same thing happens in digital transformation. Many companies, they rush into AI, automation, cloud without fixing some fundamental capability gaps, and they do not talk about these gaps. They have their own perception and vision, what's the best, what should be done next, and they simply do not talk. If you will continue analogy of the building and the blueprints, business also could be represented as a set of blueprints. And this set of blueprints is called the business architecture. If you were attentive enough when reading business analysis body of knowledge, this is the element of the strategy analysis when you're defining current state and future state. You need to define the set of blueprints for current state of organization, figure out the gaps, and draw and make a picture of the future state. In simple words, this is really big set of different blueprints of how to build a house. But when you see this entire list, I'm sure you're thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot just manage and have all of that all together for organization. This is just impossible. It is possible for the large enterprises. I saw companies who have their dedicated business architecture department, who have their dedicated enterprise architecture department, whereas this is separate activity, separate discipline, which runs every day and really guides the strategy and planning and investment priorities within the organization. But it doesn't mean we cannot use that. It doesn't mean this should be the huge effort to start getting the benefits of the business architecture. So you see this like few circles. The central one are the core blueprints of the organization. Everything else, those are like supporting ones. Depending on your use case, if it's digital twinning, if digital transformation, this is merchant acquisition, or any kind of other major activity, you need to pick the set of tools from those blueprints. You don't need them all the time. But the core major elements you need almost every time. That's the value stream, or in other words, how organization delivers value. What are those stages which transforms something from outside of organization, customer needs, into something which customer will pay for and what would be the value for the customer. How we do that? How we do that uses what organization possesses. Those are capabilities. What organization does, no matter the process, no matter of technology, no matter of KPIs. How we do that in terms of who we are and how we structure that organizational structure and what type of information we're processing and transforming in order to deliver that value. That's the informational blueprint. Those four are the core, which really help you with the majority of the use cases you work on, including digital transformation. But personally, for me, capability is the one we are starting almost every time, and for the one which is the easiest to use to start and to deliver value to your organization. I name it, like in Lord of the Rings, the one blueprint to align them all. I don't want you to think that this is the silver bullet. I don't want you to think that this will solve all your problems in terms of miscommunication, digital transformation, but this is the framework which can help you to align people. This is the framework which can help you to bring together change management, governance, and cross-functional collaboration. So it underscores and provides the common language, because capabilities, they're defining what organization does, no matter how or who does it. We are not connected to any kind of organizational structure. We're not connected to the processes because those things are more dynamic. Capabilities, this is the DNA of organization, and it changes really, really rarely. Only if some kind of new business line or new value proposition starts. Organization really rarely transform their value proposition and value items. Like Amazon did it like once in their history, or maybe twice. Right now they're doing it the second time. They're moving in healthcare, but during their history, it was not happening like really often. Capability will help to translate the business need into some structured technology agnostic component, and it will help IT teams understand what we're doing and how to prioritize their transformation activities. And this will help you to guide the change management. Change management, in other words, this picture, does not have colors yet. We'll go a little bit deeper into how to color code that properly to deliver the value. But change management will use that to understand where change appears, which capability is affected by initiative, which department is affected by initiative because that works with the capability. That will help to build the proper change strategy and to adopt people to the change which would be moving forward. While I was talking, I'm sure you had a lot of thoughts in your head about some objections, and I will try to address majority of them. I'm not sure I will address all of them, and you will have questions at the end. But let's try to think about different myths which I heard during my almost 6 years experience working with the capability mapping and the business architecture. So first, and the most popular one, that capability mapping does the fancy name for process mapping. In reality, once again, capabilities, they define what organization does, while process defines how it is done. Like the process, capabilities, they do not change frequently. They're more stable foundation for strategic planning. And for example, and will be giving you example from the healthcare in most cases, because this is where I live and breathe last 10 years. So healthcare insurance company has a capability of claims processing. That's the core of the payer organization. It remains constant, but the process of how we're handling the claims, they evolve. They were starting from the paper. After that, they made to semi-automation. After that, ADI was introduced. Right now, we're looking into different tools and methods how to apply AI to claims processing. It is still the claims processing, but maturity of that changes, and the way how we address that, the way the process works changes. But from the last century, it is still claims processing. Second one is that what I hear a lot, that capability mapping is mostly for enterprise architects, that business analysts has nothing to do with that. So enterprise architects, they use maps at the enterprise level. while BAs apply them to projects and the system design. Capability mapping helps business analysts to frame requirements on the business first way, ensuring that solutions align with the structure and with strategic goals. For example, instead of listing features for CRM upgrade, and the quick note, CRM will never be the capability, even though different vendors are saying that their platform is a capability. It's not, it's a solution. So instead of listing features for CRM upgrade, business analysts can use the capability mapping to align improvements with different customer engagement goals. So you will have customer relationship management capability and different subsets of really smaller things of what organization does. And you are framing your requirements around that, making sure that it traced back to what organization does, to the process, to the department, to KPI, and only after that you think of how the CRM platform can actually implement this need and this requirement. And it would be easier for you to talk with the organization, especially when they will decide to replace the CRM from one platform to another one. The third one that I hear almost every second meeting I have introduction about the business architecture and capability mapping, that this is too high and too high level for business analysts. What I want you, and you can have this perception from what I showed you before, because the previous one was really to go back, the snapshot might be 1/10 of what we have as our reference model for payer business, our proprietary software. And you have a perception, this is really huge, this is high level, you will never ever get there. It's not just the for C-level. It depends on the level of abstraction and deepness where you want to go. BA use this to structure requirements, like I said, and BA can break down high-level capabilities into sub-capabilities. And after that, to get to the supporting processes to make them actionable. There is no limit how deep you can go. You can stay at the level 3, as majority of time I'm doing during my discoveries and advisory services, because I'm working with the huge core transformational initiatives. Or you can go into some kind of subset, or for example, you are working again in the health insurance company transformational project, and you work specifically on adjusting and changing health claims system. Health claims system supports different set of capabilities, but the most core one is the claims processing. For me, it would be for the transformation initiative, that would be level 2 capability. And I will not go deeper, depending again on the goal of the project. But for you, if that's the entire project you work on, you'll go deeper and you will decompose that into sub-capabilities like claims intake, adjudication, payment reconciliation. Adjudication will go deeper into coordination of benefits, into payments. And this will help you to understand the business model, subdomain model of where you're working, and it will help you to trace back all the requirements and make sure you're not missing stakeholders or processes or different pain points which could be addressed through the health claim system. Capability mapping is not an IT exercise, even though enterprise architects, VP of informational systems, they're using that widely. They're using that because that's one of the conversational points between business and IT. But business capability map is the business first and should be created and delivered by business side of the house in order to create the enterprise architecture, to map technology investments to actual business priorities. So for example, instead of jumping to AI-powered fraud detection, capability-driven approach will help us to figure out first of all, we need to enhance data storing or data interoperability to ensure this accurate inputs for fraud analysis. Because if you don't have data, you cannot apply AI there. A little bit about being high level. It's first one, it was that's too high level for business analysts. Another one, which I'm hearing, it's too high level to be useful. So while high level capability maps, they provide a big picture, they can be drilled down into detailed capability assessments. Maturity models and heat maps identify specific gaps and prioritization opportunities. You need to figure out which exact snapshot of organization you want to map and decompose using capability mapping. In most cases, where I'm working in as core foundational organizational structures. So there could be strategic one where all the management consulting organizations are working, or there could be supporting one where we have legal, IT, and other set of capabilities which are supporting the core. You can go into some specific area of, again, claims processing, and you don't care what's going on in legal, HR, and so on and so forth. That's your choice. Business leaders do not care about capability mapping. In fact, that's partially true because they care about the cost saving, operational efficiency, and competitive advantage. If you can demonstrate them how applying this type of thinking will help them to achieve those three goals, they will be on board. Instead of saying we need an ERP system, show them how an initiative of implementing or adjusting or enhancing existing ERP system will be improving supplier management capabilities or will cut the procurement cost by 15%. Because when you create a capability map, you map the KPIs to each one capability, you are making the heat mapping, you're making the analysis and gaps. That's easier to justify the change you need to create. It's easier to communicate that to the top management, why you need that. Not just saying, I need a ERP system, just to get the proof. That might be, capability mapping might be thought as another documentation step. Well, it is documentation, but I hate to think about documents which are not being put in use. Just a small hint. If you have a bunch of documents which are you updating just to be updated, I think you just need to get rid of them. Every document should be the working tool, conversational tool. And the capability mapping is this decision-making tool. It helps to prioritize either requirements or investments, depending on your level. It helps to assess gaps. It helps to ensure traceability. This should be working. And it is actually relevant to Agile and Scrum teams because I think, based on what I said, it changes relatively rarely. You may think it's not Agile. So Agile teams, they often struggle with the scope creep and unclear alignment. The main problem always is to prioritize backlog, to maintain specific focus. So capability map as the framework help you to prioritize because when you see important ideas, changes, initiatives being traced to high priority capabilities, it's easier for you to know what to put first without asking all the time what's the higher and medium and lower priority. And last one is, but not the least one, that BAs, they do not have authority to use capability mapping. Again, that can come from your perception that this is the strategic level tool. And once again, you don't need any kind of executive approach to start using capability map. You just need to decide on the level of details and the scope of that. But when you will introduce the mapping into your work, trust me, you will gain credibility because that will give your customers feeling that you understand their language, that you're ready to start bringing together IT and business and make this conversation. That will not be perfect from the first iteration, but all you need is just to start. And to start, like I said, it's not a silver bullet. I don't want you to think about that. But it is some kind of framework and digital transformation X-ray. Why I like X-ray analogy? Again, because I'm from the healthcare. And the second one, because capability map, when you start color coding it, it gives you some kind of holistic view of different functions across the different departments. Color coding or heat mapping, it helps you to identify like hidden fractures before they break, weak or missing capabilities. They may not cause like an immediate problem, but without intervention, they can lead to transformation failures or poor customer experience. Here you have an example of a few heat maps our team was creating for one of our recent customers. It's not all the heat maps, and the criteria is up to your choice, depending on goals of your transformation, goals of the project, type of the customer, and so on and so forth. For example, here, if I remember correctly, we were assessing capability of the pay organization against digital maturity, transformational urgency, investment priority, operational efficiency, and risk exposure to compliance needs. You may have completely different criteria based on what you're working with. You can have more of them, you can have less of them. The question is what will bring the conversation, what will start collaboration between business and IT. During one of our courses during the bootcamp, we'll be talking more about how to select those criteria and how actually to work with the capability analysis to make this fast, efficient, and working for the customer. But here you see like the output of different results and color codings, which helped us to have the conversation between business and IT. And the best one is this. This is some kind of visual picture which creates the same associations in heads of different stakeholders. Besides the color coding, you may think, okay, we have this perfect picture, we have all those colors, we have heat maps. How all that I need to bring to my customer experience team, to my product team, to my solution architect, what they will say about that. And this is another, let's say, prism why I think the capability maps, they are X-ray for digital transformation. Because instead of designing transformation efforts around the departments, capability map will allow you to break the silos and organize really responsible teams around the capabilities. So nothing will change if organizational structure will change, because the same groups of people will still be working on the same thing. You can assign ownership of capabilities. For example, customer onboarding. That would be part of the, I think, level 3 capability map. That will involve sales, customer success, and IT working together, instead of just thinking that that would be customer management or customer relationship or whatever department that would be. Every customer experience touch point, it should be enabled by something in the back office, by some business capability, and later by some platform. Mapping capabilities to customer journeys, they ensure that customer experience is and improvements to that are backed by business and technology investments. And heat mapping between customer experience and impact of customer experience on capability that will help to prioritize those enhancements. Which areas really needs to have the strong need of modernization based on new and revised customer experience. And here, like, was one of the examples of how we did that for a recent customer. Their initial request was to transform and rewrite the member portal. Yeah, this was for pair organization. Rewrite the member portal. Our approach was, let's see how your member experience works. Let's see what is the desired member experience you want to deliver to your customer. Let's figure out if you're ready to deliver this customer experience. Is your organization ready? Do you have required capabilities? Are they mature enough to deliver that experience? And we'll start our transformation journey from there. So instead of just rewriting and putting lipstick on a pig and creating just new user UI for the member portal, we really revisited and found a lot of different hidden problems and undiscussed issues of that organization, which would have appeared later on the process when we was started to rewrite this member portal. So it was some kind of, revelation for the customer, and for us, that was a really good thing to make this risk management. In terms of solution architecture, capability map helps IT department to map different services and solutions and platforms to ensure that they deliver what's needed. In large organizations, they rarely work with one platform. That's a lot of different platforms which have overlapping capabilities. And you need to make selection which one service or module from which platform you will use for this or that capability. For example, surveys, there are a lot of solutions about the survey management in different platforms. The customer we were working recently for the Save On customer, they had, I think, 3 different solutions for survey management across the organization. That was not good for customer experience, because depending on what department was contacting you, you had completely different experience, completely different feelings, and you were not happy about that. now my favorite one, how to do and how to make this magic. And this screen is actually a tribute to a colleague of mine, which one day when I joined the really big discovery, he told me, hey, we have like three tasks, which are really simple. In our case, we have three tasks to map business capabilities, to assess their maturity, and to align capabilities to digital transformation. Sounds simple, right? But also, we have three big problems. We need to map those capabilities, we need to assess their maturity, and we need to align them to transformation initiatives. Because the reality is that everything is perfect in theory, but when you start doing that, you'll find yourself in a glorious mess of different competing priorities, conversations, methodologies, debates. Sometimes it might feel really like a Game of Thrones. But the only way to make this happen is to start navigating that. I'll try to share with you the wisdom of what I learned doing that on different customers. So first step, we need to map those business capabilities. And here we have illusion of simplicity, because you may think, perfect, let's just list what business does, how complicated that might be. And reality is, whose version of reality will you start map? You may be working with one of the departments of that organization. Another department may have like completely different vision. Executives speak in visions, IT speak in systems. Operations, they speak in workarounds because they're so used to problems and issues they're facing every day. They're just explaining you the workarounds of their specific process. And the higher you get into capability mapping, the more conversations like that you will be having, and more different points of views and opinions you will see. One team will call it customer experience. Another will call it member engagement. And the third team will say, I don't care how it's called, I'm still using the landline to call the customer. Which level you need to do that at? It should be big picture, it should be functional view, it should be granular pain factory. You need to also have a collaboration with vendors within the organization. And just a spoiler, I gave you previously, vendors really often sell their software as a capability, but CRM platform is not a capability. And cherry on the top of all of that, you need to figure out what technique to use. Is it top-down approach? Is it bottom-up, which will you will get 300 unique capabilities, which in reality are the same thing, just named differently. Do you want to use predefined industry model, or you want to create a custom framework? Will you go the domain driven, or you will create some specific entity relationship diagram and start from there? Just pick your poison. There is no right answer to where to start. It all depends on your specific set of needs, specific type of the customer, in which level you have access to, and where you can start. We'll try to uncover that topic during our bootcamp, how to do that better and what suits the best. But the bottom line of this step, it's not about mapping. You can learn all those techniques. You can talk with all the departments, but it is about negotiating. You need to make sure you're creating a shared reality between people who might not agree on what they do. And you'll be surprised how many organizations do not agree between each other within one enterprise on what they're actually doing. And here is the screenshot from our collaboration with one of the customers, where we were using our proprietary reference models. We developed that in our vertical services at SoftServe. We were trying to align the language to figure out if it's customer experience or member engagement management. We had created that shared space for the customer and just letting them to go and put the comments and give us their understanding of how should we name different things differently. You see how much messy with a lot of comments, a lot of stuff happening on the board. And this is just a really small snapshot. The real picture is much, much bigger. It will never fit on the screen. But you may see here a different set of boxes which are in line with the same capability. We were doing the mapping, trying to understand which platform actually delivers that capability. And we were so surprised to figure out that for some capabilities, it's like 5 platforms at the same time. are delivering that capability, depending on the department, depending on the team who is working with that. That's quite a messy approach to work. So one of our goals was to align and to figure out which one is the best one, which one really fits, and if really those different teams have those different requirements, so they need different platforms to be there. Next step is, let's say you navigated all those endless conversations with different departments. You ended up with the right language. This is the understanding of what business does. Let's try to figure out what's our current state. Let's assess the maturity of every ability, or those capabilities which you're actually working with, which are top priority for you. That may also sound like, let's score how good we are. But in reality, it would be the science of brutal honesty, because self-assessment, they would be overconfident. IT reports, they would be like brutal reality. Consultants, which may be working with an organization, they're gentle and they're telling this truth gently. There are a lot of different techniques how to address that. But at the end of the day, no matter what you'll pick, nothing underscores the office politics or the fact that people lie and people do not want to tell something embarrassing. It's all about exposing this uncomfortable truth, not just putting the ratings and numbers. It's not about putting the marks and giving marks to the customer, especially if you are not domain subject matter expert. This is their business. You cannot just come and tell that their child is ugly. You need to hold their hands and find the approach and the conversation for both business and IT for them to agree on telling the truth that yes, we have problem there. We need to address that. Just holding their hands and expose the truth instead of saying them something's bad, because that is the first step to push back, and even change management will not help you there. So once again, techniques are important, but conversation and the proper conversation around those techniques is more important. And different dimensions of making this assessment. I was showing you before the heat map of one of our customers where we're working recently. You need to figure out which dimensions are really important here. And you cannot end up with one because that's not enough. It could be a process maturity. It could be data maturity. It could be, I don't know, compliance impact. You pick, you choose. But you need to align that based on the project you're working with. We survived the step 2. We made comfortable truth. Everyone was crying and screaming, but we know where our issues and problems are. Step number 3. Let's figure out what to do next. Let's find out how we will make our company, project, product, stream, whatever, great again. And here we'll start with a bottle of budget and attention. We think it's just let's prioritize based on impact, what deliver us the most money and be happy ever after. In reality, everyone's pet project is a high priority. There are a lot of different techniques here, how to address, how to prioritize. But what you will see is the CEO wants AI still, CEO wants automation, legal wants everyone to slow down. Procurement says not until I'll see ROI of all your cloud modernizations and buying a new ERP system. Business cases will get inflated, feasibility will be underestimated, trends really distract everyone. Let's go AI just tomorrow. How to prioritize? What we need to prioritize? It should be quick wins, it should be big bets, it should be some kind of compliance-driven investment. Again, it's all about conversation. Let's agree on how we'll prioritize. What would be our value ranking? And have really this conversation between people in the room, and just be prepared that it would be the fight. It would be a fight between more vocal people, between the politics, between different budget restraints, and so forth. You need to be able to navigate that, to balance that. It's not just about the ranking. Tools and techniques are important, but it's about you being able to balance feasibility, vision, and emotions. I'm sharing with you one of the screens of our workshop around the prioritization of all the pain points we figured out for subset of capabilities. So here on the top were our sticky notes with the pain points, which we uncovered during our heat mapping and gaps assessment. So it was about conversation. It was about uncovering uncomfortable truths. We listed everyone's opinion without like listing the names or who said what. And we sit together with the team, with our digital information team, with our business departments, and we were voting. We're voting anonymously, saying and telling what we think is the most important. For those things which had different votes, so some people were thinking it's extremely important, and other people were saying no, that's something we do not need to address right now. Let's postpone. We're having really sincere conversation of why we think it's differently. We're asking different people to say pros and cons, why we move forward. We were just talking and figure out and covering maybe some kind of missing aspects of ideas, of problems, of changes. It was a long conversation, but we ended up with the really shared vision of why we prioritize these changes and these problems. Once more, about the balancing emotions, feasibility, and vision. Ranking technique is just a framework to make this conversation happen. And again, back to the three-step framework, which is the jungle of different debates and conversations and trade-offs. I want to reformulate those three steps to be transparent with you. So first, we map the capabilities, but we're trying to keep different business units from putting their own agenda, from framing and naming the way they want it to be named and the way they want this to be structured. And the really good example I had recently, when we were doing the capability map for one of the organizations, their organizational structure was a little bit tricky. And what our team noticed that we had two departments which were somehow serving the same business capability. I will not be naming which one because that would be like really obvious later which the customer is. They were serving the same business capability. They were doing the same things. They were contacting the customers on the same topics, but they were doing this differently. And when I make a step trying to consolidate them, there was really increasing temperature and heated discussion during the meeting because they thought that we're proposing to join their departments together. Again, it's about education with what business architecture is. But this was a symptom. There is something wrong. There's some kind of bad blood between those two departments who work together, who are serving the same capability, who needs to be in line in the way they are approaching the customer, but they are doing things differently and they do not want to talk. It was a symptom for our change management team, and this is something we presented to the customer top management. Customer top management was really shocked. We uncovered this uncomfortable truth during like 6 weeks discovery, I think, because no one even remembers why those two departments were separated and what happened between them. But the impact was visible on the customer experience. What we did during 6 weeks, we cannot solve this problem. So we ended up with, okay, we will tweak a little bit capability map. We'll do that not according to technique, but we'll make sure that you feel comfortable and we'll address this issue, this conflict through the change management. So that helped us to uncover that. We haven't allowed them to put their agenda fully on the map, but we will make sure that they do not make a pushback later. That was the really valuable lesson for our team during this project. On the second stage, you do not just assess the maturity, you fight the delusion that we're doing fine. And this is something really hard to overcome. And the third one, we do not just align transformation efforts, we balance urgency, cost, feasibility, And we try to create something which looks like the structured plan. It's not written in stone. It would be changing, it would be adjusting, but you need to start with a baseline to make sure that everyone has the same picture in their head. Getting back to my favorite example of the customer. 300 hours later of different meetings and conversations, we finally got a clear picture. Something what started with let's rewrite three portals, we ended up with a transformational vision with the list of hidden problems which will make the transformation impossible before we'll resolve this problem, before we will align different digital services and solutions together, and before we will change the process. So this is just for excitement of how big the roadmap was created by us. And here is the result and the feedback from our stakeholders. Something what started really small give them the really huge value because that helped them to look under the hood of the organization and uncover things which they haven't even thought about, and build the framework to talk between the digital transformation team and IT team. Before that, that was some kind of fractured, really heated discussions. And I believe what we created for them is the framework conversation. And I'm really excited to see how this project will move forward. To wrap up, before the questions, I want to tell you a few signs which I figured out for myself to understand that I'm doing things right. First of all, if no one is arguing, they do not understand or they do not pay attention. Start with the building the rapport and understanding. If people have opinions, they debate, they fight, that means this thing is working. If business and IT are debating, that means the alignment is actually happening. Do not expect you to create one nice picture with a few colors and heat maps and everything would be fine. No, they will start fighting, and that's great. That's what we need. And the last one, I really was looking for the picture, but I don't have it anymore. Something which changed my perception. I decided I'm doing something right. 5 years ago, when I first time applied the business architecture and capability mapping in one of my big accounts, our VP of information systems, he actually printed that and put it on the wall. When I saw that on the wall of his room, and it was there for a few years, I realized I'm doing something right. If someone will print it and will put it on the wall, trust me, you won. And I think I'm ready for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Elena. That was very inspiring, especially this last part about the picture on the wall. So, are you able to see the Q&A box? Our audience was very
Uh,
polite and put all the questions there.
oh, really? Let me see.
Yeah. So we have quite a lot of questions, pretty good ones. So if you can just go through them and
Yes. Let me put them on the screen, by the way, if everyone is comfortable with that, right?
sure.
Companies often struggle because different teams understand digital transformation differently. How can we make sure IT in business speak the same language and work towards the same goal? Yeah, that's the perfect one, and I fully agree with that. And my personal feeling is the problem lies in the understanding on what is the final destination of that digital transformation. A lot of companies do that around around IT changes. And the topics, let's find where to apply generative AI or agentic AI, that's the perfect proof of that. When we talk about digital transformation and how we understand that, about any topic, about any understanding, my first step is always to align the glossary. Just put them together and ask, what do you understand as the digital transformation? And just work with those things between them. It should be business first. Digital transformation needs to happen in order to achieve business outcomes, to improve KPIs, to improve their positioning on the market. Just implementing generative AI within the company may lead nowhere. We need to understand what are the KPIs and why we're doing that. As soon as they have the common understanding and common language, just fix the, just put that in the glossary, create the shared glossary within the organization. And it might sound like easy step, but having the glossary somewhere, you cannot believe how it helps. It's funny, but it works. Something would work for me. Framework looks huge and complicated for a first look. How do you persuade business stakeholders to be on board with this approach? An example from your practice. So depending on the company, one of the company we worked with had just established their business architecture department, so they had a really clear understanding of what they want to achieve. It was relatively easy. We were speaking the same language. For the companies who do not understand that and who never ever used any kind of framework approach, try to formulate that in terms of what they will receive as a value. Do not overload them with the terminology like capability map, value stream, framework. I think I was saying that for top management, it's important about how I will get my cost saved, how I can earn more, and how I could be efficient. Just to explain them that this will save communication, that will streamline their investment, that will build the common understanding between business and IT. Try to find their problem and address that problem. As soon as you talk this way, they will be on board. This is what worked for me. Figure out what's the biggest pain point and how business architecture and capability mapping can help with that. An example of framework requirements based on capabilities. Yeah, so when we are working with the implementational ones, so in business architecture and capability mapping, it's all about the strategy and planning. As soon as you get into implementation and creating the requirements architecture, running initiatives, everything should be traced back. So when you work in the backlog, in most cases, you have few levels of the backlog. It could be epic feature story. What we are creating, we are starting from the capability. So you have a capability as the major thing. You have initiative, capability should be changed from current state to future state. This change, this gap is connected to some kind of initiative. That could be many-to-many connection. It could be one-to-one connection between project and capability gap. Depends on your specific case. So capability is connected to the project, to initiative, or to the epic. And this traceability will give you the chance to build a proper backlog. So creating maybe 4 or 5 different levels. And evaluation of the capability maturity, some KPIs which are connected will help you to trace back and forth between the results and how your requirements actually impact those KPIs. So building a little bit more complicated traceability structure, and you'll be really happy of how orchestration of all of that work. And you can take a vacation for 1 month and nothing will break because people will know where to find those requirements. Which tool do you use for capability mapping? My favorite one. There are a lot of different tools. There are really expensive enterprise architecture planning platforms. There are like simpler things. For one of the customers, we were really asked to do that in Visio. You can do that in Visio, but I don't envy you when you do this in Visio. It's complicated, especially when you need to maintain 3 layers and you're working on like aligning the glossary. You need to change in different places. Right now, we are working with SoftServe with few platforms. If someone would be interested, I can share the names later. But you need to think on the level of complexity and details you're doing that. If it's just for product discovery or small subset of the projects, Miro or Visio would be, I think, good enough. If you're doing the large enterprise transformation and you are not stopping on the capability, you really need a tool. Because other than that, that would not be efficient. A lot of people think capability mapping is just IT thing. So how do we show business leaders that actually helps drive real change and better decision? So that would be the long one to answer, I think. Thing is, the business leadership, they have their vision of what a company does. And like I said, they are not always in line of what organization does. You can put them together in one room and be really surprised when you will then they will start debating on what we actually do. Uh, Capability mapping and entire business architecture thing could be presented, and I think the best way to present it to top leadership is as a framework, or like I said, X-ray to drive investment. You have one big picture of your organization with traceability to teams, to KPIs, to processes, to platforms, to value delivered, and to customer experience. I do not think there is any other view or approach which will help top management to see something relatively quickly. You can study a lot of different documents. You can go a lot of different files to gain understanding what organization does. Or you can create this picture once, which would be relatively stable, and you can work with the top management constantly having conversations about that, constantly revising, improving, and looking into all your initiatives through the prism of what exactly in our house we're changing right now. Are we addressing the bathroom? Are we changing the ceiling? Are we like rewiring everything? The blueprint of the organization is the same as a blueprint of the company. So if you present that as the way to see your organization through like few pictures, I think they will buy it. At least that's how it worked for me. How to gain knowledge, it seems so complicated, different for what I do at Discovery. Fearless client will not take me seriously. So there is one more body of knowledge which complements business analyst body of knowledge. It's called business architecture body of knowledge. They complement together, those institutes work together. This is the place where I started to learn. But again, this is the theory. The practice is different. It's a lesson I learned from myself, all about the conversation. Not taking seriously, that may be the question. You may elaborate a little bit for me. What exactly? You do not need to explain them all the capabilities, boxes, and everything. That's important for you to know what are you doing. When you bring them one picture which shows the organization of what we're doing and how you trace that back and forth to different requirements, solutions, and platforms, it doesn't matter how it's named. It doesn't matter about the technique. It's matter about the value. If they see the value and it is valuable for you, they will take it seriously. I haven't seen any like project in my experience where I brought that and it was said as something unnecessary. It's about how you present. It's about how you say, this is important for me and this is how I will use it. Do not overwhelm people who do not understand this terminology with those words. That's the point where they will start to do the pushback. Silly, are there any simple ways to balance quick wins with the long-term strategy? That's when prioritizing digital transformation efforts. I think there is no simple way to anything digital transformation. I would say it's about how you will build a criteria of evaluation. What does it mean, the quick win? So what means the long-term strategy bet? How you will separate them? Because quick, this is the quality word. What means quick? It's tomorrow or quick or like in 2 months or half of the year, in 1 year. What's quick for your business? To make this decision, you need to sit together with your stakeholders and figure out what means quick, what means long term, and how we'll make this decision. And to get to be prepared for this battle. Like I said, the step 3. You need to figure out the criteria and sit together with your stakeholders and have the honest conversation. Honest conversation of what this brings to our business, how it's aligned with our strategy, and what means quick, what means feasible. When you have all those different criteria, you can do the balanced evaluation, balanced score, and just score those changes, those updates. It will not be simple. It will not be quick. But doing this once, it would be most complicated, but step after step, it will be easier and easier as soon as you onboard your stakeholders into that. How do you keep different business units from constantly renaming things to fit their own priorities? Yeah, that's the painful one. Creating the glossary, putting them in the one room and just agreeing on the naming, explaining that if they will name the same thing differently, there would be the case of misunderstanding at some point. By the way, one of the examples in my experience, we're building the care management platform, and at some point, care plan as the entity was renamed into health coaching plan. After that, it was renamed into coaching plan. And the third was the care, third time it was care program. We ended up with a mess. And this thing was just appearing from our sponsor, I think every quarter. We ended up with a mess and no one was understanding what we were building. The thing is just to sit and let's agree how we name this. It doesn't matter, maybe in your marketing materials it'll be named differently, but let's agree on the terminology right now. Everyone understands what we're talking about because you will end up with the Tower of Babel, especially when you're doing the requirements. So simple answer, just put them together in the room and make them agree. Is there a source for predefined capability models per domain? Yeah, there are different organizations which create the reference models. Business Architecture Guild will be the one of them. I don't remember all the names, so I do not want to misguide you, but if you will just put in search the reference capability model or reference business architecture model, you will find two different sources of that. So it could be purchased, it could be adjusted based on your needs. Here at SoftServe, we create our proprietary models because we have a lot of experience working with the different customers, really old customers, so we have domain knowledge and we preserve that within our organization. Can you share what techniques, approaches, or frameworks identify capabilities of business to digital transformation? Any metrics, roadmap, specific questions? So what helps me the most is my domain knowledge. That's why I'm not getting into capability maps of the retail. I will spend a lot of time there. Knowing the business is the crucial thing to create the capability map. That's why if you're not like having good enough expertise, you need some subject matter experts from the business to create that. And this is how business architecture specialists, which are not domain specific, they're creating those maps and those reference maps, by the way. They're partnering with people who are domain experts to create the proper language. Again, depending on the company, language could be different. They're partnering and they're creating the proper language. For me, when I was starting that for the first time, entity relationship diagram was the first thing which I used to make the capability map. Because capability is about what organization does. What means some kind of noun and a management. As simple as that. Your organization is the payer. Payer works with claims, with providers, with members, with beneficiaries. That's your starting point. You have contract management, you have claims management, you have member management, beneficiary management, so on and so forth. I was starting always with nouns, and that's the easy approach. The right one is to start from the top to work. Not right one was popular one to start from the top with the top management, figure out what are their value proposition, who are their customers, what is the value item they're delivering to the customer, and see how you're managing those things and what actually management of something means. What claims management means in the reality. It's claim intake and claims processing, claims adjudication. I can give you a lot of like industry terms there. It's all about the domain knowledge. How long does it take to map capabilities for organization average? Depends on your scope and the size of organization. There is no like quick answer on that. And on your level of domain knowledge. It could be like 2 weeks or it could be half of the year project. Depends on the amount of stakeholders you need to be involved to have these conversations. If you have like 10 departments who cannot agree if that customer experience management or member experience management, and you have 3 meetings in a row just around this, it will not take 2 weeks. So it's really, it depends. You cannot do that in one day. I really bet you can do that in 2 weeks if that's the huge organization. If you're doing the first pass of the entire organization business, of the entire enterprise, I would estimate the project, and that could be all operational departments, I would estimate the project around 2 months for myself in healthcare. Is this technique more about product management or business analysis? It's about the business analysis. And I can real quick try to show you what I mean here. Get back to this picture about the different blueprints of the business architecture. So see, the products and services is one of the blueprints which a little bit overlaps with the core. So when we're talking about product management or service design, it's about how we deliver value to our customers through the product or service. But product or service should be backed up by the organizational structure, data, and capabilities. So I would say it's more about analysis of the business rather than product management. But you cannot create the product without required capabilities of the organization, because like that would be a lot of stuff just to, it's not about just the features. It would be much more there in the organization to exist in order to deliver product or service. And I guess that was the last question, right?
Yeah, looks like you handled it
Awesome.
perfectly, Elena. A lot of questions, really.
Yeah.
Thank you, the audience.
I hope I answered all of them. If you want to have the conversation about this topic, just drop me a line on LinkedIn. I'm really happy to talk about this thing. I can talk entire day, to be honest. Yeah, and once more, the same QR code Kirill was sharing with you. This is the huge topic about capability mapping and business architecture. It's really hard to cover everything. I really hope I gave you the taste of this thing. In more details, we'll be talking about the capability mapping analysis and how business architecture fits into strategy analysis during our bootcamp. So don't forget to check on that. And thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, don't miss your chance. Thank you so much, Elena. Guys, thank you so much for joining the session. There will be just a short survey of 3 questions. Please fill it in. It helps us to do these sessions better, make them better. And thank you so much for joining. Elena, thank you so much for this session. It's really like for most of us, for me as well, it's like the next level thing, something that we will strive to. And thank you for the taste of it. That was good.
Sure.
All right. Thank you so much and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.